Calvary greetings to you all, lovers of the truth. Join me as I dive deep into the lives of the prophets and try to uncover the truth behind their identities. The concept of prophets is one that has fascinated and inspired people for centuries. Throughout the Old and New Testaments, prophets play a vital role in communicating God's message to his people. They're often seen as mysterious figures, with a deep understanding of the divine and the ability to foretell the future. But who were they really? What drove them to take on this role, and what was their impact on the communities they served? When we think about prophets, we often have a romanticized idea of what they were like. We imagine them as charismatic leaders, fearlessly speaking truth to power and guiding their people through times of turmoil. But the reality is that many people are confused about who the prophets were and what they did. Some see them as mere fortune tellers, while others believe they were simply mouthpieces for God with no agency or free will of their own. The truth is that the prophets were complex individuals, shaped by their historical context and influenced by their cultural background. Take the prophet Isaiah, for example. Many people assume that he was a solitary figure, receiving divine revelations in the wilderness. But in reality, Isaiah was a wealthy man, living in Jerusalem and moving in the highest circles of power. His prophecies were shaped by his experiences of war, poverty, and social injustice, and reflected his deep concern for the welfare of the poor and marginalized. Or consider the prophet Jeremiah, who is often portrayed as a sad and lonely figure, condemned to wander the desert, crying out against the sins of his people. But Jeremiah was a member of the priestly class, and his prophecies reflect his deep understanding of the temple rituals and the religious traditions of his time. As we delve deeper into the lives of the prophets, we begin to see that they were not simple, one-dimensional figures, but complex and multifaceted individuals shaped by their unique experiences and circumstances. And it's precisely this complexity that makes their message all the more powerful and relevant to our lives today. Let's take a closer look at some of the key prophets in the Bible and explore what drove them to take on this role. From Moses, who led the Israelites out of slavery in Egypt, to Samuel, who anointed the first kings of Israel, to Daniel, who interpreted the dreams of kings and foresaw the rise and fall of empires. Each of these prophets had a unique role to play, and their messages were shaped by their particular historical context. One pivotal moment in the history of prophets that stands out is the Babylonian exile. When the Babylonians conquered Jerusalem and destroyed the temple, it marked a turning point in the history of the Israelites. Suddenly, the prophets were faced with the challenge of preserving their faith and culture in the face of intense persecution and displacement. It was during this period that prophets like Ezekiel and Daniel emerged with messages of hope and resilience that would inspire their people to hold on to their faith, even in the darkest of times. In the midst of exile and uncertainty, the prophets continued to speak words of comfort and challenge to their people. They reminded them of God's faithfulness and love, even when all seemed lost. And they called them to repentance, to turn back to God and to rediscover their true identity as his people. It was a pivotal moment in the history of the prophets, one that would shape the course of their faith and culture for centuries to come. As we come to the end of our journey into the lives of the prophets, let's recap what we've discovered. We've seen that the prophets were complex and multifaceted individuals shaped by their unique experiences and circumstances. We've explored their roles and messages and seen how they were driven by a deep passion for justice and compassion. And we've seen how their legacy continues to inspire and challenge us today. Thanks for joining me on this journey into the lives of the prophets. If you've enjoyed this video, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments section below. And don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and click the notification bell. Thanks for watching.